afternoon for some of you.
Why don't you try that again? It was muted.
Oh.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Hopefully everybody's doing fabulous. Good to see everybody's beautiful faces on this Sunday evening. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I am so thrilled for our call tonight. We'll give everybody a few minutes to hop on, but if you guys could just over in the chat, tell me something you're grateful for. What's going on? How was your week? How was your month? Just type it over in the chat, say hi, ciao,
okay.
ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Go Betsy with the Italian.
She's been working with our Isagenix Italians over there, so she's not speaking English anymore.
No. Okay. See how that is? Sure, Betsy? Sure. Awesome. Well, so excited everyone's hopping on. Hopefully you are having a wonderful Sunday. Yes. Did you want to go live on Facebook? No. Okay.
No, this is just for you guys.
Paving the way, my husband's unwavering support in my business. Look at that. Awesome, Kristen.
Aloha, Hawaii's here.
Grateful for Betsy.
I'm grateful for Betsy too.
Ooh, opportunity call with Barbie in an hour. Okay.
Woo!
Wonderful. It is hot in here. Did you leave the heat on?
No, it's just me.
Good thing you can't see my sweat stains. That's why I wear black.
You guys, we are gonna keep tonight's call like on point. So we'll just wait a couple more minutes, make sure everybody hops on. I have a ton of announcements before we bring our amazing special guests on tonight. So I wanna make sure you guys hear all of those because there's so much going on.
She's got a whole list.
Thanksgiving week for all of us North Americans. We know you Canadians already had your beautiful Thanksgiving, and we
I bet they celebrate the US Thanksgiving too.
I don't know. Ask them.
Do you? Do Canadians also celebrate the US Thanksgiving? I mean, it's a reason to party and eat. Come on. Megan, you gotta tell me.
shaking her head.
She's like, no, you Yankees are just no. Holly, no. Stand corrected on that
one. That's a hard no.
That's a pass. Wow, we need to start celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving just because.
I do in a gratitude and thankful kind of way. I just don't eat the stuff, but of course
we do not. I mean, that was, you guys really came out and boldly said.
They told you.
No. Okay.
All right, you guys. Well, we are going to get started. Thank you so much for being here tonight. For those of you who are newer to the team, welcome to our call. We try to host this call every the fourth week, once a month, and we're here. And there's just been so much going on, so I'm so excited to connect with you guys, but I'm really more excited to bring our special guest on. So I'm going to go quickly through some reminders just to let you guys know. For those of you just hopping on, we're throwing gratitudes over in the chat, so go ahead and use that chat, say hi, say where you're from, and all the things that you're thankful for this week. Number one, I want to remind you guys, tomorrow night, we have our mastermind call. If you are not a part of our mastermind group, get in there, tell a leader, message me, message Tyler, anybody on this can get you in there, you guys. People pay thousands of dollars for the masterminds that Lindsay Hoffer, Laura Stevens, me and Tyler have put together for you, bringing amazing people on this call. Lindsay Hoffer and Christy De Leon are going to be hosting tomorrow night's call, and it's going to be fire. So that is all the info for that is in Impact Makers. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, as always, Power Hour with me. If anybody just wants to get to work, get down and dirty for an hour, that is available with me. We still, tonight at 9 p.m. is when I'm doing that iPad Pro giveaway over in the mastermind, you guys, the $1,000 iPad with pen with it. So you guys, if you have not done the 2 steps that you need to do to win that iPad, get over there, get that done. You have till 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight to get that. New Year's, I told you guys I had a whole bunch of stuff to talk to you about really quick. I know, I'm sorry. New Year's kickoff, you guys. We are still meeting in Dallas. Those of you that want to get together and watch New Year's kickoff with us. So make sure you book your hotel rooms, book your flights, because we are going to be community as much as we possibly can to these crazy times. Last but not least, the new Leader in Action starts tomorrow. So make sure you guys print out that new Leader in Action. Megan Smith just did an amazing call 30 minutes ago. I got on there with her and she went through the whole Leader in Action and how that works. She is doing these calls every Sunday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, for anybody that wants to learn the Leader in Action and just have some accountability. So make sure you're hopping onto that.
Do you need to take a breath?
Go ahead.
Take a breath. You got anything else?
No, those are my announcements.
Those are your announcements. Those don't. All right. Well, you guys really adore this man, and I as I was getting ready to read his. And one of the things he talks about is that's something I admire him, and that is something he is going to absolutely. I know we're broken up a little bit. I just keep on rolling, okay? Because you'll bear with me. I am sorry. So tonight's guest, David T.S. Wood. Let me read this, because if you don't know David Wood, maybe you just got started with IceChex. I want you guys to understand this. So David is a crazy rebel, misfit, troublemaker. Are a few of the adjectives used to describe David. Some others are humanitarian, pinnacle leader, multimillionaire, adventurer, master educator, and goofball. He is comfortable leading people to the top of a mountain, yes, Kilimanjaro, or just sitting on the couch and just pouring into you and telling you what greatness lives in you. And that's what I've experienced from David. Again, you've heard this, that radical, non-apologetic, because he wants the best for you. And he has an amazing skill and ability to not only spotlight that, but to help you find that in yourself. He has 2 sons, Calvin and Ben, and I know they are, busy kind of really living a life that I know David has modeled, because they're from here to there to wherever else. And just really, that is something that I admire he has instilled into his family. So without further ado, David T.S. Wood. I feel like we need music.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun. I'll do the music. Do you know how cute it is watching you two together? Is it hot in here? No, it's me. I love it. First of all, thank you. Just for those of you that don't know me, I just want to say something to you two. I always look at, I've been with ICU 16 years. And I think that, when I think about who we are, I think about, we're just a collection of amazing people. And you two, as far as the quality and the leaders you are and who you represent, how you are, your hearts, your families, how you show up. So I just think that you really are the sort of that soul that I love most about our company. So I just want to thank you for your leadership, because it's amazing. And watching you two has been so much fun. I can't stop smiling. So thanks.
You've seen us through the years, David. You've seen moments of not my best.
Well, yeah, that's true. But that's family. What a family. That's what we're like, right?
Right. So, David, I really, when Kelly and I were talking, and we'll just be honest that you had the opportunity to share yesterday a presentation that Kelly and I saw, and it really was amazing, because you have a long experience in network marketing. You have a lot of experience in life, but really your experience in network marketing. So I'd really just love for you to kind of go through a little bit what you shared, but just how you see, the ebbs and flows in network marketing, and what you're seeing is right on our doorstep today.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. It is interesting, because I always say that there's a word that we should all understand, what's normal. And I'm an investor, so I invest in the stock market. I invest in real estate. Primarily, real estate is my real passion, and business. And so when you look at any of those, you look at what's normal, and real estate cycles about every 10 to 12 years. The stock market, you see, it goes up, it flats out, it goes down, and that's kind of a normal cycle. And business is like that. And network marketing is definitely like that, So when I say the normal peaks, valleys, and plateaus, but so is your business. And I think what a lot of people, especially, when we think about our profession, we're the highest paid professionals on the planet Earth. Really, if you think about, how much money we can earn, because we earn in direct proportion to the amount of people we can help. And there's no endless amount of people we can help. So, that's why you see people earning so much money. But what happens is when people start, often, the sort of their business looks like this. And then what will happen is, something will happen and they start to build. And as they start to build, you know, sometimes we fall into a thing called management mode and we go into a plateau. Now, if we're in a plateau too long, well, it dips, just like the real estate business, just like, you know, the network marketing business. And Isagenix is like that, but so are the companies that have come before us. And what I talked about is you know, some of the great companies that have led the way, you know, companies like Amway. Amway last year did $8.8 billion. Avon did $5.7 billion last year. Herbalife did $4.5 billion last year. Mary Kay, $3.5 billion, right? So when we think about that, when I think about the word billion, I think about what that means to us as a company. We're about over $8 billion in sales. And what it means to me is about lives impacted. Because what really differentiates us from so many other companies is our before and after pictures. And not just the bodies. I mean, I look at, and if I look at you two, and I think about how you are, you know, the way you speak today. When I first met you, Kelly, I remember the first time we met, right? And I just remember, right? And I watch you today, and I think, oh my goodness, look at the woman that you've immersed into. Not that it was always in there, but there's not many environments that allow us to step into our full greatness. Because if you have a job, very few people can go to their work and be their absolute best because they just try and fit in. You can't stand out too much. You know, you only get paid this much money, right? Most people who are entrepreneurs are so busy that they never really are their absolute best because they're exhausted. So watching this sort of emergence. But when I look at each of these companies, and then I look at the companies outside of network marketing, like Apple, Toyota is a great one, Amazon, Tesla, SpaceX. What are all of these companies, Isagenix and you, all have in common? And it's this normal peaks, plateaus, and valleys that occur. Each one of these companies have gone into these cycles. We've gone into these cycles. We did it, if you remember 2008, you know, Isagenix, you know, we were down 14% that year, but it's always like we get into this kind of false sense where we think that, oh, everything should just keep going in a straight line up. There are no straight lines in the universe. And the only time I've ever seen a real straight line is a Ponzi scheme like Bernie Madoff or someone like that. You know, they end up in jail for like 37 years because, you know, it's not true. So what happens is your business, your real estate investments, Isagenix is going to go through these natural peaks, valleys, and plateaus. That's where I started. Do you want any thoughts about that, Tyler? Any comments or any questions around that?
You know, just the things that I can attest to. And I can say this for everyone else. I shared this the other night when I was talking to a couple ladies that are here is if you took away all the money that we've earned, all the money, everything, it would be absolutely worth it for the person that I've grown into becoming. Yeah. And I know if it was all taken away, I am more able and apt to impact people tomorrow because of everything that's happened in the last 10 years. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, if it wouldn't have been for network marketing, I wouldn't be here. Absolutely know it. She's shaking her head without me even. So that's where you're hitting on that. The other thing that I think is very interesting, because I've thought about this, people are like, oh, you know, passive income, you just go put it in, you know, just earn. It's like, well, a lot of people say real estate is passive income. Well, we own a rental house. You own multiple, pieces of real estate. If you don't maintain that, you're not going to earn the same return. Eventually, it's going to be worth zero. And so I think about that in like network marketing. If you're not putting back in, if you're not growing, if you're not showing up to stuff like this, if you're not trying to say, okay, man, I got to learn through this struggle. I got to learn through this valley to get better. Then you're going to go to zero because that's like real estate, right?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting is, Elon Musk, there was a quote that I read from him the other day, which really struck me, which said, one thing that I worry about most is my kids is that they simply aren't facing enough adversity, right? Yep. And what's interesting about our profession, unlike any other one, if you think about, some of the highest paid professions in the world, and I don't know what you'd choose, but maybe let's say a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, people go to school for eight years and then they work every single day. They go to their offices and they work and they continue to work and they continue to work, right? And they can never earn what you two are earning because there's a limit on linear income. But linear income's important. And I think a lot of people mix this up. And in fact, the other day, there's a lady in my house here, and she asked me this really important question. She said, David, if you lost everything today, she said, you lost it all, what would you do? And I said, well, let me just tell you. And it's exactly what you just said, Tyler. The person I've become, I know that tomorrow how I'm going to be able to accelerate, because who I've become, I can accelerate my speed to the success I have today. But I also have the vision of freedom, the vision of time freedom. I have the vision of incredible relationships. I have these visions, right? So, but the difference between a linear income, and some of you right now are part-time, and many of you starting out will be part-time for a long time. So you have this part-time linear income, and then you have this residual income. And then at some point, and hopefully not too soon, some people jump in too quickly to give up their linear income, right? Yeah. Because I love multiple streams of income. So my linear income, my residual income, and passive income. If you look at residual income, what it is, it's where you do the work and you get paid over and over again, but you have to keep doing the work. You have to. And what a lot of leaders, when we talk about that natural plateau, what a lot of leaders do is they get to a point where they stop doing what they did to get successful, and what they do is they go into a natural plateau, right? They stop doing the work, and they think that residual is somehow passive income. Now, passive income is where your money makes money. That's the best way to think about it. Your money's working harder than you. That's passive. Now, I have passive incomes, which is money I never have to touch, but my residual income needs me to be there. It needs me to keep doing what I've always done, keep inspiring, keep growing people. I have to be involved. Otherwise, it will slowly dissipate. Yep. But it's beautiful because it compounds. And that's the beauty, really. You think, I started ordering these products 16 years ago. Before I met Jim and Kathy, before I worked with a company, I used these products because they were the best products I'd ever seen. I was like a secret agent, right? 16 years later, I'm still buying the products, and the guy that introduced me is still getting paid. I mean, that is mind-blowing. But guess what we still have? We still have a relationship. We still talk all the time. He still checks in with me 16 years later, but he gets paid every single month. So I think, Tyler, it's really, a lot of people mix up residual, thinking I do it once and I never have to work again. That isn't what it is.
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because I don't think people really explain that as much. And I just learned a ton hearing that from you. Obviously, I know I need to always be touching my business, but the way that you just explained that, I hope you guys were writing notes on that, because it is so important, so important. So good. Thank you.
So you mentioned this, and I've recognized this, that, they go through cycles, right? Businesses go through cycles. I've done a lot of research in network marketing the last couple of years because that's kind of who I am. And I realized that network marketing thrives when the economy struggles. Yeah. Would you talk about that?
Oh gosh, listen, look at my eyes. I hope you can see me. I know I'm sitting in the dark here in my house, but there is never, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, let alone, I haven't said a word yet, and I've got tingles all over my body from what I'm about to tell you. And you got to trust, I've been around this industry for a long, long time. And I help people in other companies. I help the profession of network marketing, and there's some great companies, there's some good companies, and there's extraordinary. And I consider us to be extraordinary, right? So, but when you think about what's happening in the world today, right? There's never been a time in our history where the whole world has to look in the mirror and ask the same question. The same question. Now, we're just going into the second wave of COVID here in Canada, and we've been pretty insulated from everything, right? But what's happening is the people that used to look at network marketing and turn their nose up at it, or they didn't understand it and they called it that pyramid. That's, but you know who says that? By the way, if you ever wonder who says, is that a pyramid? I always know one thing about them. They all have the same thing in common. They're all broke. Only broke people say that because they have no idea what they're talking about whatsoever. So they'll ask that question. And what I know is their bank account is very low, or it's in a minus situation. But look at what's happening right now. People, and this is the big wake-up call. People who are making big incomes, 6 figures or multiple 6 figures, they all have a lot in common. They have no time, or very little time. And they spend a lot of time traveling, or in cars, or in commutes. What's happened is they've been forced to stay at home. And while they've been staying at home, they've reconnected with their kids. They've reconnected with their families. I went to my friend's house the other day, and he looked at me, he says, I can't believe it, how balanced my children feel. How balanced they feel, because we've been home and we've been sort of like, family has become so important. So these guys that were high income owners, and girls who are high income owners, are suddenly saying, hey, I don't want to go back in the commute. I've spent 8 months out of that car, and I want to find out a way where I can stay home and I can not lose my income, because the income, they're tied to it. Because some of you will make this mistake, and some of you probably made it. is living to your means. It's one of the things I wish if they could teach one thing at school about money, they would teach us all about, the idea of simplifying our life, and making sure that we don't live to the amount we earn. Because when crap like this happens, guess what? Most people are, 1 month away from being upside down, and even wealthy people. You see people with big houses, big cars, their kids are at fancy schools. We think, oh my God, look how rich they are. You really? My friend, he's a #1 banker in Canada for 8 years in a row. He comes to my house all the time. You know what he says to me? He says, Dave, if you could see these wealthy people, if you could see how close they are to ruin right now because of what's going on in the world. So that's why, to get back to your question, Tyler, there's never been a better time. The other thing that's really important is because everyone's scared about their health, is people are starting to look at nutrition with a different eye as well. And they're starting saying, and I had this conversation again today with a lawyer who's like, you know what? I need to do more for my body. What do I do for my body? So you got these guys who are imprisoned by their 6-figure incomes, and now they've got a taste of freedom, but they're also saying, hey, I also want to be healthy so I can enjoy my family, and I need to have the money so I can enjoy my family. So I think it's the most incredible time in our history. And yes, history tells us that every recession, if you think about the last time Isagenix went into momentum, $3 billion of momentum, it was right after the last recession. When we had the collapse, the global collapse of the financial markets, what happened to Isagenix? Whoop! Because guess what? It's always at a point of transition that people look, and we're at a point in transition globally.
Yeah, I mean, so many things there. And I think what's interesting is it really opens up a whole new generation. That's one of the other studies that I've made is when I look at like Kelly, when I look at us, when I look at so many people on this tonight, is all getting started at the same age range, because it's all of a sudden I'm more open to or, oh, I had all those friends that actually had a great experience. Now I'm open to it. And I see that happening in that same cycle. And in that late 20 to early 30 is an amazing time for people to get started because they're experiencing what our society is.
Well,
their parents, young parents.
No, I was to say, they also had something happen. This generation watched the last generation and they realized that it sucked. They just did. I mean, those kids are, the generation are looking at their parents who've got the 40-40-40 plan, right? And they're looking at how miserable they were. And I'm not saying everyone's miserable. They're not, everyone is. No. But if you look at just statistics alone, how little money people have and how little time people have, you think with the advancement of technology that the whole world would be like thinking, hey, guess what? We need to spend 80% of our time fostering relationships and growing children and impacting our community, and 20% of our time, working and building investments and understanding money. But none of that happens. People are like, we were told, and the last generation was told, listen, get a good job, work hard, get a degree, stay with the same company, and you'll be looked after. And guess what happened? All the pensions went away. And the kids are saying, hey, mom, dad, I love you, but I ain't doing what you just did because I saw how miserable you were. And by the way, I never saw you because you were always at work, right?
Yep, totally. Let me kind of pivot a little bit. And as I thought about this, one of the things that I've realized is sometimes you bring up this golden opportunity of network marketing, but also health and wellness products, but there's a lot of fear. In knowing your story and knowing that you've kind of jumped right headlong into that, people that are afraid to talk to people about either the products or the business, based upon your experiences, how you've jumped right into the face of fear, what would you say to that?
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Because each one of you, if I was to have one of those tachometers on you for how many conversations you've already had since you were born, you're going to look at it and say, oh my gosh, I've had 22 million conversations, right? And if I was just following you around with a camera and watching your normal conversations, most of you, some people are self-absorbed, but most people are just normal, right? And you get into conversations, and what do you talk about? You talk about life, you talk about kids, you talk about, what you do, you talk about your passions, you talk about your hobbies. I mean, it's just a normal thing. It's just when you become a network marketer that suddenly you become a weirdo, right? And you start having to think you got to have some kind of fake conversation, right? And, what you will notice with people who have developed the understanding of what it is to be a professional network marketer, there's an obligation, and it's called legacy and purpose. The obligation is when each one of you take your last breath, we're all going to feel the same thing. And I know, because there's so many studies that I've done on, because people have been, nurses that look after people at the, in their last hours. So there's so much data to say what people are thinking about. And they're thinking about, I wish, it's a regret. I wish I'd spent more time doing that. I wish I'd spent more time with my family. I wish I'd spent more time, following a purpose. I wish so there's all these kind of things that occur. So what would happen is this, when we feel a purpose, a sense of purpose, and you have in your hand two things you have in your hand. Let's say we have the products and we have this opportunity and culture. And let's say three things, because the culture, some of you right now, you got to understand, you're in and you want to do it, but you haven't really stepped over the line yet. You're not over the line, you're kind of on the line. And I saw Kelly there. I remember when she was there, right? Do you remember that, Kelly? You weren't over that line yet, you were sort of before the line, right? But there's going to be a moment in time where this becomes bigger than your fear. It's going to be a moment in time where you feel this calling to say, look, I'm going to share this with people because they're hurting. They're hurting. There are people out there right now that are desperate. They don't even know that there's a better way. They don't even know what good feels like. Their bodies are so polluted and their minds are polluted and they're getting brain dead in front of a television. And yet when you show them this new path, every single person that I've heard say this, oh my God, I said no for 2 years, or oh my God, I thought that person was a freak. And now they're in Isagenix and they're saying, oh my God, I wish I'd said yes earlier. I wish they'd spoken to me earlier. I wish I'd put these products in my body earlier. So when we look at fear and if we dissect the word and we say, what's the definition of the word fear? The definition of the word fear is the anticipation of pain. The anticipation of pain. And if we look at the word anticipation, is it a past word? Is it a present word? Or is it a future word, right? It's a future word. So fear exists in the future. So most of you, the reason you won't have a conversation with someone is because your mind is running to the future and the fear of rejection is a real thing, but your mind is running to the future and you're anticipating being rejected. So what we tend to do is we tend to not have the conversation. Yet, if I said to you today, look, there's been a magic spell that's been cast over all of the people in your neighborhood that every single person is going to say yes to you. You know what you do? You go running around, knocking on every single door, trying to get there first, because you knew that they're going to say yes, right? However, if we go back to Elon Musk's quote that I just told you, which he said, the one thing that I worry most about my children is they don't face enough adversity. And we also know that if you won the lottery, if I gave you $10 million today and you're not a person who's grown into 10 million, we know statistically that in 2 years, you're going to be worse off, broke, and wish you'd never won the lottery. That's what happens because, your wealth has to grow in accordance with your own personal growth. So what I love about our profession is we get to grow into it. You're going to be scared in the beginning. Your conversations are going to be kind of lumpy and messy, and you're going to feel a little bit goofy. But when you keep going, it's going to become elegant, normal. It's going to become congruent, which means your inside matches your outside. It's not going to be up here in your head, which it is right now for some of you. It's like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? Like, oh, I'm going to get that person. If I get that person, I'm going to be rich. All that kind of nonsense, as opposed to, you know what? I'm just going to have a normal conversation. And I have something that could potentially help them, but I've got to get to know them and understand is there something I can help them with, right? So going back to fear, right? The anticipation of pain, but how do you get over it? And Tyler, did I ever tell you the story about my son, Ben, what happened with him? Did I tell you that story?
I don't know if I saw that, but I'd love to hear it.
All right. So
else.
My son, Ben, this is about fear. My son, Ben, when he was 17, he left school. He was the youngest in the class. So his birthday is December 22nd. So he left on, he's still 17. I took him on a 9-country tour. But it culminated with us being in New Zealand, and there's a place in New Zealand called Queenstown, which is called the adrenaline capital of the world. It has more of these crazy outward bound kind of situations. Yep. So what I said to Ben, Ben, we're going to do a week of fear. We're going to call it Adrenaline Week. Every single day, we're going to do something that scares the crap out of you. And I said, let me tell you why though. I want you to understand what fear feels like. I want you to understand what you do to create it. I want you to understand what happens at the other end of fear. And I want you to understand that, that you can actually learn to manage it. In other words, you can reprogram yourself around it. So the first day we did a bungee jump. The second day we went whitewater rafting. The third day we did a bungee jump off Nevis. I just posted it on my Instagram. If you want to watch that jump, it is crazy, right? It's the third highest jump in the world. Ben stood on the end of that platform. And the hardest thing to do for you as well is when you're going to have a conversation, right? Is just about you're on the edge of this thing, right? And they go 3, 2, 1. You're meant to jump. They go 3, 2, 1. And Ben stands there and he's frozen. He's all bent over and he looks back. He says, "Can we start at 10?" Right? So here he is standing on the edge of the platform, and I'm watching him, and in my mind I'm going, "Ben, you got to go. Ben, you got to go." I'm not yelling at him. I'm just keeping my mind. Finally, after about 2 minutes, he claps his hands and he jumps. Right? Anyway, so we do this whole. We do eight or 9 different things that scare him, and he looked at me. He says, "Dad, how come you're never scared? How come you're never scared?" I said, "Well, Ben, I just don't focus on it." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, let's talk about that bungee jump." I said, "When I was in the bus, I was talking to the girl next to me. I found out all about her life, where she was from. She was from England, about her kids." I said, "When we got off the bus, I was talking to the girl that was getting us dressed. I found out all about her life, the fact that she was visiting, and I went on. I said, when we got on that little trolley to go out to the jump, I was looking at the view and thinking, how grateful am I to be in this view? And I didn't think about the jump till I was on the edge of the platform. And then I knew I was just going to jump. And you can watch the video. There's a video of me doing this jump. So if you want to bring it to life, right, go on the video. It's David T.S. Wood, all right, on Instagram. And then I just jumped, right? Here's what happened. Why I'm telling you the story about Ben, because he started to get it. I watched him. We went skydiving at 15,000 feet, and I watched him walk on the plane. I watched him jump. I got at the bottom. There was no fear. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And you know what he did? He left New Zealand, and he went alone. He's 17. He hitchhiked across Japan, and he couch surfed across China alone. And then he came back to Canada, and he moved to Vancouver alone. And now during COVID, he just moved to Montreal. And what I love is it's not about understanding fear. It's about what do you do? So each one of you get the chance. When you notice what's going on in your body, notice what you do to create it, get the feeling, understand the feeling. And when we understand what the brain is actually doing to us, because you're actually under a chemical attack. When you go to talk to someone and it's outside your comfort zone or your zone of comfort, the brain is a part of the brain called the psychocybernetic mechanism, and it actually secretes chemicals into your body, and you're going to feel fear, doubt, apprehension, and uncertainty. And when you feel any of those, you're going to either freeze or retreat, or if you're like us, and I say us, many of you on the call, right, who've practiced, you understand you're going to feel this. So what happened with Ben when he did the skydiving, he now knew what it felt like. So instead of stopping and freezing, he said, oh, that's right. This is what it feels like when I'm uncomfortable. And I can still walk. I can still walk to the plane. I can enjoy the guy. I can laugh. I can joke. I can still feel fear. I'm under chemical attack, and I can still jump out of the plane. And it was one of the greatest experiences, he said, of his entire life. And when we landed, together on the runway, he came running up to me. We had this big, big hug. He said, Dad, that was the coolest thing. And guess what? I said, what? He said, I wasn't afraid. Well, he said, I kind of was, but I didn't even listen. I mean, this is what happened, right? But watching him go to Japan and China alone, and that's what we can do here. Each one of you, as you start to realize it's there, you're going to say, okay, what's on the other side of that? What if I start understanding how my body's going to feel and I have the conversation? And then as you do it more and more and more, it just then becomes natural and elegant. And then what's going to happen as you grow bigger, your comfort zone will expand, and then there'll be something else that will challenge you, right?
Mm-hmm. I love that. As you're talking about, so I bungee jumped in New Zealand. And that is where I bungee jumped. And before that, I was petrified of roller coasters. And I bungee jumped. And then after that, roller coasters were boring. For much of that same effect, I've done something bigger. And so now the things that used to scare me no longer do. And I love that story. I didn't know you were going to tell that, but I'm so glad you did.
I just want to know when we can put a trip together where David can take us on all these adventures, right?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's go.
So to kind of wrap up here, and I think, as you've done such a great job of pouring into us, and I'm wildly thankful for that. If you were sitting here tonight, and after you listen to this, What's the one thing that you would tell yourself before you go to bed?
You know, well, I tell myself every night before I go to bed. Let me just tell you that, because it's the same thing. First, I always, before I go to sleep, I always, and my sons, they send me a little text. It's just about, and I know this sounds, we've heard it 1,000 times. I focus on gratitude. And I always think about two things. I think that if tomorrow, I treat tomorrow as if it's the first day that I'm alive and the last, then I'm going to have an extraordinary day. And the first day is about curiosity, fascination. It's about interest. It's about beauty. It's about kindness. So when you watch a little baby, when they start to walk and they look, they see something and they hold it in their hand, they're like, wow, we just get so used to things that we stop seeing beauty. And I remind myself to find beauty in, this morning, Tyler, when we first spoke, I was snowboarding this morning and cross country ski, and I just remember, and I said to my friend Richard that I was skiing with, I said, I just got to take a moment and take it all in. I just got to look. I just got to take a moment and really look. You just got to give me a second just to absorb it. Because, sometimes we're in such a hurry. Last day on earth, I say those two things that I remind myself. Tomorrow, I'm going to treat this as if it's the first day I'm born and the last day. Because the last day is about being full. It's about making sure that, for me, it's that what do I want to leave behind? What was the time spent doing? What legacy do I want to leave for my children, for my friends? What mark do I want to make on the planet? So what I want to do is I want to just give everything I can. And I don't walk around like this. I'm just talking about being passionate about everything I do. Look, if I've got to wash up, I might as well wash up with passion because I've got to do it anyway. So I might as well wash up and not make it a chore. So I get to choose and know that I did my best. When I go to sleep the next day, if I live like it's my last day, I know that this day I maximized and I gave my absolute best. And then I fall asleep. And I tell you, it's the most beautiful way to wake up. Curiosity, fascination, and go to bed full. And that's the thing, is going to bed full, so, and it's not like you have to change the world, because remember, the only world that you can change is your own. Mm-hmm. And that's the real truth is, some say, I want to change the world. Well, if you really want to change your world, watch what happens to your friends. Watch what happens to the neighbors. Watch what happens to the other kids at school, because as your kids change, they influence their friends. So suddenly the world that you're in changes, and that's how you change the world. You don't go and change the world, you change your world, and that will definitely change. And I've seen that with both you and Kelly, Tyler, and that's exactly what's happened. You are world changers. So thank you.
Oh.
Well, thank you. And I want you guys to know the things that David says, he lives this life.
Yes.
Always. This is not just some motivational speaker coming on to bullshit you guys tonight. He practices what he preaches, and he's one of the most kind, loving people I have ever met. And I'm so grateful to have you as a mentor and a person in our life.
Well, I tell you one thing I want to say publicly, I would love to spend more and more time with you. I realize that because we don't spend, but I want that. I just think you're such special people. So anytime, my home's always open. I love that trip idea. I do in Australia, I do a leadership retreat. We go to, islands in the South Pacific.
You got a boat now. You got a boat.
That's true. That's true.
Don't know, check out David's Instagram. You can learn all about his boat.
He's got a boat, he's got a plane, he's got
amazing story. And so those are things that, as you follow David, you understand that these stories aren't made up because they're reality. But I also look at that and appreciate it because it really is that whimsical life full. And that's how you make an impact. That's how you change your world. And yeah.
Can I say one last thing? Because I looked through all the people, and by the way, thank you everyone. Your time is the most important thing. But the other thing I want to remind you is to be supremely kind to yourself. If most of you spoke to other people the way you speak to yourself when you're alone, you wouldn't have a lot of people in your life. And it's just really this journey, it's going to be messy before it's good. You're going to be a disaster before you're a master, but just do it with kindness, and really understand that kindness is I think the most powerful force in the universe. But kindness to ourselves, Notice what you're saying to yourself and catch it. If you're saying anything negative, notice it and change it. Because if you understand how the brain works, we can rewire the brain. And it's totally, there's a thing called neuroplasticity. They're showing now that we can completely rewire. So whatever you're feeling today, but you need the right environment. And that's why Isagenix is the coolest thing, because of this. What you're doing right now on a Sunday night, when most people are sitting watching TV, you're sitting here and you're, you know, surrounded by people that want to grow and dream. So sorry, I know you were going to end it, but I looked in someone's eyes and I thought, I want that person to be kinder. I can tell they're not being kind to themselves.
No, it's true. It's very true.
Well, again, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you for joining us.
You guys put it in the chat. Show them all the love.
Yes. Yes. You have some things.
I do have some things. Thank you, David. If you want to hang out, you're welcome to hang with us, but I know you have lots of stuff to get to. So we just want to be so grateful for you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, David.
All right, you guys, I know we wanted to keep this to around 30 minutes, so I am going to let you go, but I just wanted to finish off the call tonight with just some things that I was curious about. I got on a call, was it yesterday?
I don't know.
Yesterday, the day before, with Kathy Coover. Just because I needed some insight. I needed some intel. I just wanted to know a little bit more. I mean, we keep hearing.
You wanted to get the scoop.
Well, we keep hearing this 2.0 and sorry, I have mascara under my eyes. We keep hearing this 2.0 and I'm like, okay, I'm excited. 2.0, this is great. What is 2.0? What can we get to look forward to? So I know tomorrow night they're doing a top 100 call. So you'll hear a lot of this on the call tomorrow night if you're in the top 100, and the rest of that's going to be emailed out to the rest of the team. But there are just some really exciting things coming our way. And so what I can
Here it is. See, normally you guys get this on Coffee Chat, right? But I didn't get this information. She did.
Well, and I just needed to know all the things. What is 2.0? Because if I'm confused, you know, sitting at the top 5 in this company, like I know you guys are confused, and I just want to know what to expect. I want to know what I can look forward to. I want to know what vision I can paint for everybody in this 2021. Natasha's telling you to shut up.
Me shut up? What did I say? I didn't say anything.
Okay, so here we go. We are going to be rolling out all sorts of stuff. You are going to see a full tech makeover in Isagenix back office by July of 2021. That is their promise from Kathy Coover and Sharon Walsh. Now that's when everything's going to be done. So our technology is going to be improved with enhancements to the compensation plan. So easier for your customers who don't want to be a business builder, don't even want to be an associate, but they have the opportunity to earn money by referring people. And we see some of that right now, but it's just going to be enhanced and a better experience for them. Seamless, simple, ease, and excitement. So look for that. There are some amazing new products that are coming out that no network marketing company has. So we're talking high-end, elite, special things, beauty and health from the inside out, which is what we stand for and which is what we love. I can't talk about those. There is a strict policy on that because we don't want another network marketing company coming in and taking and disrupting what it is that we're doing, because we are going to be the first ones to have this item. So that is super exciting. December 7th, our new executive to 4-star leadership pools are starting. Get to executive. You have the opportunity to earn up to $5,000 a month in these executive pools. You guys, big money is at stake. So the manager pools are still there, which are such a blessing. The director pools are still there, such a blessing, but there's just going to be more money that they're going to be handing out. So if you don't know what executive, 5 on your right, 5 on your left, get back to paid as executive so you can capitalize on that. And then the Penny app, this is actually coming soon.
New Year's kickoff.
New Year's kickoff, and maybe even a little bit before. It's going to be a much easier way to do recommended carts. And so this recommended cart experience is going to be great because they just enhanced the compensation plan where you can earn 10% off the BV of any cart that you customize. So say maybe your person is not quite ready to jump in with a giant pack and they want something a little bit more customizable, say around 200 BV. You'll now earn, which is already in place, that $20 commission, that 10% commission on that
$200
custom pack, 200 BV, $20. That custom pack that you've created. So make sure your teams know about these ways that they can earn money with that 10% pack, because it's really great. It's a great way to just earn some commissions right off the bat. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about that, because I think it's really important to know as technology is changing, some things, there could be glitches and things like that. And Isagenix told me, you guys, and here's what I know about Isagenix. When we came out with the vegan shake, it took a while, and we were stomping our heels, just like, when are we gonna have dairy free? You know, all that stuff. He didn't, because he loves cows, but I was, and I was like, when are we gonna have it? Why is it taking so long? And I got a little stinky. And Isagenix says, we will not put things out that are not 100%. They just won't do it. Ice to the Likes took a while, 100%. The Greens took a while, it needs to be 100%. And so I am so thankful we stand behind a company, because not a lot of network marketing companies are like that. They're in the process to make money, so they're turning and burning, and they'll put any white label product out there that they can sell, right?
Yes.
So Isagenix is tech. This is what happened. They have a tech guy working with them that used to work for Rodan and Fields, okay? No, he came in and fixed Rodan and Fields, because what happened is Rodan and Fields tried to reset their whole tech and experience, and the whole website was shut down for 35 days. Do we hear anybody who's doing Rodan and Fields anymore? No, I don't. I mean, not many. And because that big hiccup, it affected their entire company. So yes, do we have to wait a little bit longer in order to get these enhancements? But I need us all to trust and know that Isagenix has us in their best interest. And I would rather them take longer so we can be the best, so we can be a true legacy company, so we can be somebody that we can pass this down to our children, to our children's children. Yes. So be patient. Things are coming, and you will see fun enhancements. Like every month, Jackie Palmer, whatever she is, Palmer. Was talking yesterday about the enhancements, and about every month, the timeline of what that looks like. But you'll see a full, not only brand, but tech remakeover by July. It's going to be an exciting year, you guys, 2021. Stay strong. We love you. Only great things are coming. And thanks for hopping on tonight. We went 45 minutes, not too bad.
Yep.
All right, with that, don't forget about all of those reminders. Those reminders.
Mastermind call tomorrow night.
Yep, it's gonna be good. Hopper and Christy are handling that. And
tomorrow's coffee chat, I will be talking a little bit more about the difference between a connector and a networker. And I think I was gonna ask David about this, but as he talked about a professional networker, in my opinion, that's really a connector. And a friend of mine did an amazing job of describing that on a podcast. I will tune you guys into that, but as well tomorrow morning, I will be talking about that connector and networker. And for those of you that watch Coffee Chat, did you hear David talk about that financial finish line? Did he talk about that? You know, don't quit your job, create that. Okay, good.
Multiple streams of income.
Yes.
If you have side hustles, go put it in Impact Makers. We're looking to shop local. There's a bunch of fun things that you guys can purchase to support each other. Shop in the family, all that kind of stuff. I know, I loved what he said about that. Linear, residual, and passive. So good. All right, you guys. Love you.
Have a great night.
Wonderful evening.
Thanks for joining.
See you tomorrow.